Hello everyone and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage. So in this episode today, on this very cold wintry night, I'm going to be fixing the back of my Defender, making a hatch and fitting it over where I cut out the fuel pump on my Defender TD5. Final episode in this series of getting my Defender back on the road. So I'm going to be fixing the hole that I made in the floor when I accidentally cut out the fuel pump from the rear load bay. If you're watching this video and you have done that, or you're looking at replacing your fuel pump and going through the rear load space, this is the final step on getting it fixed. I'm going to be using some sheet aluminium today. I'm going to be cutting it and shaping it and getting it over the rear load space, trying to do a really good job of it. So let me know how I get on in the comments below, and if you've got any suggestions or comments, as always, please just let me know. So this is what we are dealing with. I've got my Rover light on, which is a really good bit of kit actually, just runs off battery and it's all LEDs. So what I'm going to be doing today is taking a look at this hole that I've made. As you can see, I cut it out, had to cut out one of these support struts as well. But I've had this in for about a week now, driving this car around, and as you can see, it hasn't leaked at all, which is why I wanted to wait until now before fixing it and creating some sort of a covering that goes over the back of this, so then I can put back down my soundproofing, my rubber mat, and kind of get it sorted. So this is what we're dealing with today. I'm going to show you the bits that I've got to do that. So I did have some sheet aluminium that I've used in other parts of the car, but I wanted something a bit thicker for this, so I've gone for 4 mils. As you can see, quite a good thickness there, and it feels quite strong, quite supportive, and that's what I'm going to be using to put across here. I'm going to clean all this soundproofing off. I've got a lot of silent coat and dodo matting that I've put on here previously. Going to clean off a perimeter, and then I'm going to measure up and cut a piece that fits perfectly. And then what I'm planning on doing, just fitting under here, is putting rivets around this, and probably also putting a bit of sealant around as well, just to make sure we get a tight, snug fit. It's amazing how loud things are when you're driving it with nothing over this. You do really hear a lot, particularly with the pump. So there's no surprise really when it wasn't working that I didn't hear the normal buzz that this makes. It is actually quite noisy, so you do know about it when it's not working properly. So we're going to start by taking off some of this silent coat, taking off some of this protective layer, so we've got the sheet aluminium bare, clean it up, and then have a look at what that's going to measure at to do that. So what I've done on here is I've got Dodo Superliner, which is this foam stuck down bit on top of, if you can see on here, oh actually there's none on there, this is just Dodo Superliner on here down onto the bare metal, and I did all this on a previous video of soundproofing this car. I want to get this all cleaned up, and then there's areas as well, as you'll probably see here, where I've put silent coat. So silent coat is the silver layer that you can probably just about see here if I start bringing this up. This is silent coat right here, so just taking that back as well. So what we're doing is having a look at potentially that going across, and that is pretty strong actually. So we have the sheet of aluminium. I bought this off eBay. I'll put the link in the description below just in case you want to see. You can buy every kind of metal from them actually in the sizes you want, and they were really quick to deliver. It was very good. What I'm going to do is measure up this and see whereabouts I'm going to go. So leaving a good margin there, and then what we're going to have a look at probably going to is about, I'd say about here probably on this. So I'm just going to mark this. Might just leave it this wide looking at that. Leave it this wide, leave it a bit wider, why not? It means I have to do less cutting as well. And just make one jigsaw cut straight across this bottom point here. And I think if we do that, we'll have enough then support and structure. I don't need this metal for anything else, so I might as well just use it for this. Take a bit more of that sound deadening off, and we've got ourselves a good line just there to be able to do that. So perfect, so you can see that line across there. That's what we're going to be cutting. Fantastic. So I'm going to take a bit more of this off now. hatch-wise, straight across there. Cut it here, should be good. So just need to make one cut with the jigsaw across here. So we have our hatch now cut, and that will sit actually like that way around, perfect. And actually, you see, that's pretty strong now. That's 4mm. I'm quite happy with that actually. It feels pretty good. And I think when that's all riveted down and sealed in, it will be pretty good to go. Just clean this up a bit, taking off some of the sharper edges on this. So what we're going to start with is actually make some little holes. I'm going to do 8 rivets in this, 1 in each corner and then 1 in the middles of each length. We've drilled all the holes in the sheet now, in the hatch cover, and now what I'm going to do is just follow those through into the load space of the Defender 2. So just putting this drill bit in, and then that's lined up, that one's done. And very gently, being really careful not to go through the fuel tank. That is all the holes lined up and ready to go. So what we're going to do is rivet them, and I'm going to do a little line of sealant underneath beforehand, just around this square, to make sure we get a nice tight fit that also is airtight, because you get a lot of exhaust fumes and stuff up through this hatch too, so stop anything like that coming into the back of the car. So that is that. Just seeing how this fits now, and everything's cleaned up. I've got the holes all lined up. I do have a bit of a problem with that, which I'll tell you about in a second. Now what I'm thinking of doing actually, what I realised, is these rivets that I've got aren't quite long enough. So I did a test one, and actually they go through this sheet. As you can see, don't go through the second sheet quite enough to get all the way through and do a good job the other side. So I need to get some longer rivets at this point here, which I don't have this evening doing this job. So what I'm going to do tonight actually is get it stuck down, and I've had another thought. Instead of using silicone, I have this stuff which is like a mastic tape. It's really sticky, much like silicone. I've used this on an outdoor window before, and it's brilliant for sealing stuff, sticking it, but also stopping anything from coming through it. And also, as a sound deadening, it's pretty thick and goopy, so I think it will work really well. So I'm going to put that down. I've cleaned the surface now because I'm going to use this instead, which is an adhesive. So I cleaned that around with a bit of spirit, just to make sure we're nice and clean. And I'm going to lay this down, stick the lid down, and then I need to get some new rivets that are quite a bit longer than those to do the rest of this job. Pretty sticky now, so what we're going to be able to do is put the hatch back on, push it down, stick it in place, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go and get some rivets tomorrow, and some ones that are a little bit longer, to be able to actually fit it properly and sort of rivet it down as such. So just going to fit this over here just so we can see how that is going to look once it's all down. So that is it. This is the hatch that I've made for the cover up of the back of the car. As you can see, it's pretty solid, and actually even now, just with that bit of adhesive there, it's stopped being able to move. Once I get the big rivets down in here as well, it'd be even better. And once I get the sound deadening built up on either sides again, cover it over with all my matting materials, you're not really going to know this is here. And if you do ever need to get to it, but to uncover it, drill out the rivets and get straight down to the fuel pump should you need to. So little access hatch that I've made. I know it's not the best in the world, but for me that does the perfect job of just securing the back of the car really, and making sure that not any vapor out of the back of the car. The noise is quite quiet, but we can get to the fuel pump if we ever need to. So just need to get those slightly longer rivets to finally put this hatch down, seal it completely. But that is it. We've made a hatch to the back of the car. It's finally sorted after all the damage that I did to it trying to repair the problem with the non-start. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to my channel. Go check out my other videos here on YouTube. And I'm really looking forward to actually being able to do some proper work on my Defender 90 over the next few months, get some new parts fitted and share it with you guys here on YouTube.